Hey folks, this is Mrs. Wolfie from our half-acre homestead, and I got my carrots. There we go. I'm going to say they're at least 40-pound bags, and I got them for $7 a bag. You know what I'm doing tomorrow and Monday? Okay, here's about a half a bag of those carrots. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give them all a good cleaning, because once they're peeled, the water's going to fill up in the sink here. Once they're peeled and the ends cut off, I use those in my broth, which will be coming up soon. So I've got a clean sponge here with a scrubby on the side, and I'm just going to wash these all out. And then I've opened up one of my big 50-pound flour bags on the table, and all of these clean carrots are going to go out on that. I'll throw that one to the compost. They're going to go onto the paper bag to spend the next couple of days getting chopped and ready for canning and dehydrating. The reason I'm doing this is if you leave them in the plastic, oh, that's getting really cold. If you leave them in the plastic bag, they've got moisture from sitting outside, and they will go bad and rotten and slimy pretty quick. So we just give them a good wash and then lay them out on, wow, that's a big one. And lay them out on the paper to dry while I'm chopping. Okay, here on the island I have spread my flour sack that I had been saving, and as I wash the carrots I bring them over here to dry, but I still got probably another 40 pounds to go, so I'm going to show you what I do. Okay, don't use your good towels for this, folks. Use the ones that are always getting beaten up for something. I bring my dish pan over of my washed carrots, and I do this. Now, the reason I do this is because when you get those deer carrots, some of them are going to be broken. You have to sort through them. Some of them are split. Some are even moldy, and if you don't take the moldy ones out and wash the rest and let them air dry a little bit while you want to work through them, then you will have a big nasty mess if you have to leave those carrots in the bag for a couple of days. So this way, they're going to sit, they can, whoops, don't lose that. They can sit on the paper, right? And then I give them a rub down. You'd think it was a spa day for these things. But the truth is, these will now dry until my next dish pan is ready. And all the mold, now, I figure I've lost about 8 pounds to carrots that are broken up into pieces too small to work with, have been split, or have been moldy. There was only 2 or 3 moldy carrots. The rest were just not suitable. And just because they're not suitable for us, we're going to put them out for the deer, the ones that we can't use. So nothing's going to waste. The moldy ones, of course, though. They'll be going. They're in the garbage. All right, we'll be back when it's time to peel these. So I'm just going to put this bag here for my peels. This is going to be a long day, folks. I'm going to be cutting these in chunks for canning in quarts. When I get the quarts of chunks in the canners, then I will start peeling and chopping for dehydrating. It's pretty much what we're doing this year. All right. Let's get these canned up. Okay, as usual, we're working with pretty tight quarters here. I've got 14 jars because they're all washed and rinsed. Now, I've opened my new jars. And one good thing about buying new jars is you get new rings. But these are all the lids that came with these jars. This is a good time to put these away for when you're storing dry goods or for an emergency use. Everybody knows I use 4 jars canning lids. All right, these lids have been washed and rinsed, and I'm just going to cover them with some boiling water. Here's our kettle. The old camp kettle, it's the biggest one I got, and that's what I use to fill my jars with. I got 1 canner here and 1 canner there ready to go. So there it is, clean jars, hot lids, clean rings, funnel, debubbler, spoon, salt, carrots. Let's get started. I am going to go ahead and salt my jars. And that saves me from doing it. I use about a half a teaspoon of salt or a Sunday spoon. This just saves me from one less step. And here we go. Now I'm going to fill my jar up half full. Why? Because it makes things easier to debubble. I actually think I put too much water in there. Be careful of the splash. I like big chunks of carrots. Got a little too much water going on here. There we go. Throw some of one in the other jars. Well, always debubble, even when you've put water in first, just to make sure. Always wipe your rims with a clean damp paper towel. I can't find my little magnet, and I got 2 of them. Canning season gets pretty crazy around here, and into the canner that goes. Never more than half full. I'm going to top this up. Gets pretty crowded around my counter, my stove and counter when I'm canning. Top it up. Always. Always. And into the canner, that goes. All right, when I have my canners full, we'll be back. Now this canner's full. It's my smaller canner on the smaller burner, but it still takes longer to heat up. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the lid on this while I get my next canner filled. Okay, so I have 7 quarts in here and 7 quarts in here, and this one's just starting to spout a little bit of steam. So now I'm going to put the lid on this, and when these come up to a steady stream of steam and these bubbles are popped up, I will vent my canners for 10 minutes. Do not skip any steps, okay? Especially the venting of the canner. If you don't vent the canner for 10 full minutes, you are not pushing all the air out of the canner, and you will not get a proper pressure gauge, okay? Our timer has gone off, and these have been spouting a steady stream of steam for the last 10 minutes. So, and our bobbles are up, so we're going to put our 10-pound weight on. Now, you please make sure you check your manufacturer's directions. If you live 1,000 feet or more above sea level, your weights and your gauges may be different. And as soon as we get our first vigorous jiggle, we are going to set the timer for 25 minutes for pints and 30 minutes for quarts. So I've had my first vigorous jiggle, and I'm going to set my timer for 30 minutes for quarts. Okay, our timer has gone off. So we are going to shut the canners off. I'm going to let them cool down naturally, of course. I need to remind you that letting these cool down until they are cool enough to touch comfortably is a part of the canning process. Please do not try and open your canner. Don't jiggle the weight. Don't take the weight off. Don't plunge it in cold water. None of that stuff. Let it cool down until it's comfortable to the touch. And while our canner's cool, I'm going to get back to peeling and chopping carrots. I'm not going to use the little blade. It seems to be breaking, so I'm just going to use the 1/2 inch one, and I'll just make sure that my cuts are smaller. Like the potatoes, you don't want them any bigger than this, or you might have some trouble with the dehydrating. We're getting there, folks. I'm over halfway done. There's the second bag of peels, and I'm going to rinse these and get them in my big stock pot. Whoops. Okay, here's my big stock pot. I'm going to open the lid away so hopefully the camera doesn't get fogged up with steam. And here goes my dish pan. It's only half full. Remember, you want it only half full so that you don't overflow it. Put a little bit of salt in there to help them along their way. Now, I'm going to start going through the rest of these for another couple of canner loads. Okay, I'm just starting to see some steam come out from under the lid. And if you can see that, these have been simmering like that for about 5 minutes. So I'm going to strain them, and we're going to go out to the porch. Alrighty. Let's start getting these carrots on the dehydrator. Now, if you don't have, it's best, even when they're this size, to put a fine mesh tray on top of your tray, because there will be pieces that fall down through. And if you only have 2 mesh trays and you're going to use like 5 trays or so like I'm going to, then make sure the bottom tray and the top tray are the ones that have your fine mesh sieve. And that way, when you rotate your tray, and you are going to need to rotate your trays with a load this big, when you rotate your trays, you'll always have 1 mesh tray on the bottom and 1 on the top. I just happen to have a lot of mesh trays. Now, I've had people ask me whether you can make your own with Crafter's plastic canvas. I do not recommend it. Let's open this window and let some of this steam out. I do not recommend it for the simple reason is that is not food grade plastic. If you need a mesh tray, do yourself a favor. Get a piece of parchment paper, fold it in, corner to corner, corner to corner until you have a cone like you're going to make a piping bag. And then hold it in here, cut the point off here, and cut the edge off here. Poke it with some fork holes, and then put the parchment on your tray, all right? That's the safest way I can think of to do that. I don't know how many trays I'm going to get here, but I am going to can up another batch of the larger carrots now that I got some of these smaller ones out of the way. And then when I'm done with the larger carrots, I will do another set of small for the dehydrator again. I always put a towel under because this gives off a lot of water. And you can see that if you see my freezer tops, they're going to have to be MAC tacked to get, to protect them because the lids are starting to rust. Or I can get Howie to sand down the tops and spray them with an enamel paint, but you know, he'd just say add it to the to-do list. And the to-do list, since his heart attack, is the same length it's always been, but poor Papa doesn't have the energy he's always had. When that's done, I'll take the smaller carrots and I will do this again. And when it's all done, I will show you exactly what $14 bought me. Now I'm going to set this on the fruit and vegetable setting of 135 degrees. And then I'm going back to chopping carrots. Alrighty. Now, I did another load of carrots in the canners. And I've got one more load of dehydrating to do, and then I will have the video finished. Now I'm going to tell you, this was a full dish pan of carrots. And as we know, 1 quart of carrots equals 10 pounds. This is where when people want to ask about measuring and stuff, how do you measure your liquids and all that stuff? Think about it this way. 1 quart, or filled all the way to the top of the jar, is about 4.5 cups. So if you have 10 pounds of carrots reduced down to 4.5 cups, figuring out how much liquid you need is going to be easy. Okay? So it's basically a 1/4 cup per, a 1/4 cup of vegetable per 1 cup of boiling water. Is about the right way of doing. When I get in the house, I'll be putting all of these into 1 quart jar. So I'm going to say that 1 quart of dehydrated small pieces of carrot is 10 pounds of carrots. And I was right. This is a full quart jar of carrots, 4.5 cups. So that's 10 pounds of carrots. Now, I just have the rest of these to finish and blanching it on the dehydrator, and the video will be over. Here it is, folks. 85 pounds of carrots. I have 28 quarts, and this represents a 1/2 gallon jar of dehydrated carrots. Now, I say 85 pounds because I lost 5 pounds, or 5 to 7 pounds, in some that were too twisted. Well, let's say 90 pounds. Some that were too twisted, they went to the deer, and some were moldy, went to the garbage. But the truth is, you look at this now, 28 quarts of carrots and a 1/2 gallon jar of dehydrated, $14. I paid no more than 15 cents a pound for all of these. All of them. Look how far back that goes. Folks are asking for a pantry tour. That won't be happening until I'm done. Carrots are done. Now it's sunny out. I'm going to go harvest celery. And we're going to start all over again. This is the Mrs. Wolfie from our half-acre homestead saying it pays, if you can't garden, it pays to buy food in season and prep it yourself for your pantry. You save a lot of money. That's just good home economics. Take care, God bless. Folks, if you're a home canner and you're not trying 4 jars canning lids, you are missing out. These are heavier than any other disposable lid on the market. They are a U.S. company, and if you order over $100, your shipping is free. Check in the description box below this video for a link to 4 jars canning lids and use the coupon code HALFACRE, all one word in capital letters, for 10% off. Check them out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok for ideas and recipes. 4 jars canning lids, you can't go wrong.